Hi students, welcome to Parus Academy. Today in this class we will learn about waterfall model. In waterfall model we will learn what is waterfall model, phases of waterfall model, advantages of waterfall model and disadvantages of waterfall model. In this class we are going to cover all these 4 topics. Come, let's learn one by one. What is waterfall model? First one. So waterfall model is an oldest model. It is one of the oldest software process model, and it is also called as classic life cycle and linear sequential life cycle model. And it is a software process which is conventional. It is a conventional software process. Next one is, here in waterfall model the software process is developed by dividing the processes into a number of sequential phases. Here we are dividing the software development processes into variety of sequential phases. Next one, and each phases must be completed before the commencement of next phase. For example, we have requirement specification and analysis, planning, designing, coding and testing. Everything will be in one by one. All the phases will be processed one by one. First we have to complete the requirement and specifications phase, and then only we can come to planning phase, and after completing the planning phase only we can start the designing phase. After completing designing phase we can start coding and unit testing phase, etc., and so on. Next one is, the output of one phase acts as an input for the next phase sequentially. That means, for example, I told you first one is requirement and specification analysis. Okay, after completing the requirement specification analysis we can start the planning work. We can start the planning phase, and the output of requirement analysis phase will be the input of planning phase, and the output of planning phase will be the input for designing phase. Okay, and so on. Like this only we can process the waterfall model. This is about what is waterfall model. Next we will see the phases of waterfall model. See here, first phase is requirement specification and analysis, and the second phase is planning, and the third phase is designing, and the fourth phase is coding and unit testing. Fifth one is system and integration testing, and sixth one is deployment, and the seventh one is maintenance. As the name specifies, these phases looks like a waterfall. That's why we are calling it as waterfall model. Come, let's learn all these phases one by one in detail. First we will learn the requirement specification and analysis. What are the functions, that means what are the work done in requirement specification and analysis. Here in this phase, functional and non-functional requirements, all the functional and non-functional requirements are gathered from the customer. So what are all the requirements we need to develop the software? We have to collect all the requirements from the customer. We have to gather all the requirements from the customer. That is requirement specification. And this is done in requirement specification and analysis. And the next one is planning. After completing the requirement specification and analysis, we are going to plan the system. Okay, a system plan is prepared from the requirement specification. So by using the requirement specification only we are going to prepare the system plan. That is planning phase. This is done in planning phase. Next one is designing. The overall system architecture and individual components of the system are designed. Here in designing phase we are going to design the overall system architecture and the individual components of the system. Okay, that is done in designing. Next one is coding and testing. In coding and testing, we have to develop the individual components and we have to test the individual components. We have to develop and test the individual components that we have already designed. This is done in coding and unit testing. Next one is system and integration testing. In system and integration testing, all the designed and all the developed tested components are integrated here. All the developed components are tested individually. The individually tested components are integrated here. Integrated means joined here, and the interfaces are also tested. The interface between the components are also tested here. This is done in system and integration testing. Next one is deployment. Deployment means installation. Now everything is ready, the system is developed, and the newly developed system is delivered to the customer, and it is installed in the user's environment. Okay, that is done in deployment. And the next one, the last one, is after installing the system in the customer environment, the changes that the customer require, definitely the customer will require some changes or enhancement. Those changes are implemented in this phase. Changes or enhancements are made to the delivered system to improve its performance. The customer will expect some changes to improve the system performance. Those changes will be implemented in this phase. Okay, all these 7 phases are the phases of waterfall model. Till now we have learned what are the work of each and every phases, and next we will learn the process of each and every phases in detail. First phase is requirement specification and analysis, and we have seen that all the requirements are gathered from the customer. The software development team will communicate with the customer to gather the requirements. The team will gather all the requirements required by the customer. Those requirements are recorded in the particular document that is called as requirement specification document. The document is called as requirement specification document. All the requirements of the customer will be recorded in the requirement specification document. Next one is planning. In planning, a plan for the software development activities is prepared during this phase. So in planning phase, a plan for developing the software development activity will be prepared. The plan includes the technical tasks to be conducted, work products to be developed, the required resources, list of risks, and scheduled for the work to be done. So all these are included in this plan. First, the technical task to be conducted means writing the program, testing, everything will be conducted, and the work products to be developed, and the required resources will be collected, and the list of risk will be expected, and last, the schedule for the work to be done. This is the plan. In planning phase, a plan for the software development activities will be prepared. Schedule will be prepared. And the next one is design. The architectural and detailed design of the system are developed during the phase. Already in software development process video, we have learned about architectural and detailed design. Okay, this architectural and detailed design of the system are developed during this designing phase, and the design specification document is prepared. So what are all the design we have done? All those designs are recorded in this design specification document. In this phase, they will prepare the design specification document. Next one is coding and unit testing. Here the individual models are computerized using a programming language according to the detailed specification. So according to the specification, the computerized models are also prepared here using the particular programming language. Okay, next, unit testing. After developing the computerized models, unit test is performed on each component. Unit test is performed to test whether the component is functioning properly or not. Okay, next one is, it is used to uncover errors at an early stage, and the unit testing is used to uncover the errors errors at the early stage itself. Immediately while testing, we will uncover the errors. We can rectify the errors immediately in early stage itself. Okay, that is done in coding and unit testing phase. And next one is system and integration testing. System and integration testing means all the individual components are integrated here. Many individual components are developed separately. All those are joined together in this phase. The individual units or modules are integrated into a complete system. After integrating the components or units, the complete system will be developed and the system is then tested. After integrating the individual components, the system is then tested. And next one is deployment. The thoroughly tested system is installed in the customer's environment. Here deployment means installation. Already we have seen. After developing the whole system, the system is installed in the customer's environment. Next one is maintenance. Okay, after installing the system, the customer may require some changes. They want to enhance their system. So to improve the performance of the system, they may require some changes, and those changes are implemented in this phase. In maintenance phase, this is the last phase. In maintenance phase only, all the changes required by the customers will be implemented. Okay, all these are the 7 phases of waterfall model. The waterfall model will work like this only. And the next one is advantages of waterfall model. There will be many advantages of waterfall model. Here the waterfall model is easy to understand, easy to manage and easy to implement, and it is suitable for small projects with well defined requirements. The requirements should be well defined and the results of every phase are well documented. Each and every phases will have the document. The processes are recorded in that particular document. The phases are clearly defined and completed one at a time. Each and every phases, all the 7 phases are clearly defined and completed one at a time. For example, requirement and specification analysis will be completed first. After that only planning. After completing planning only we can start the designing. Like this, one by one all the phases are clearly defined and completed. The next one is disadvantages of waterfall model. Definitely there will be some disadvantages. First disadvantages is it is not suitable for complex and long-term projects. The waterfall model is the oldest model. Since it is an oldest model, it is not suitable for complex and long-term projects. That is one disadvantage. And it is not suitable for project with changing requirement. The requirement should not change. If the requirement always change means the developing of the system will become complicated. So this is one disadvantage. Requirement should be well defined. Each and every requirement should be well defined and fixed. Next, discovery of serious errors at later stages. Serious errors are discovered later. That is one disadvantage. And high amount of risk and uncertainty is in waterfall model. We can expect many risk and uncertainty in waterfall model. Okay students, this is all about waterfall model and the phases of waterfall model and advantages and disadvantages of waterfall model. I hope you all understood what is waterfall model. That's it for now. If you have any doubt, please comment on comment section. We will meet in next class. Thank you for watching.